Okay, everyone. Can everyone hear me okay? All right, guys, we're just about to start our next session in the future of retail media. I'm glad to be welcomed on the stage by Elton Ollerhead, director of ASOS Media Group. Thanks for joining me, Elton.
Great to be here with you.
So we've got about 15 minutes for this chat about where ASOS's retail media offering has got to, where it's come from. So just a bit of context, I guess. What have been the biggest changes you've seen at ASOS and in terms of retail media over the last year, since that's when you joined, I believe?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose some of the biggest changes have really happened in the past. So most of the people in the room will know ASOS pretty well, well-established UK brand, been around for 20 plus years, since 2000. I think, the funny thing is about retail media, it's not a new thing. It might be gathering a lot of momentum nowadays, and it seems to be the big buzz phrase, but which is quite funny because the grocers have been doing it for decades. I suppose digital retail media is a little bit newer, but in terms of ASOS, we actually launched with a magazine in 2007. So magazine was a great vehicle. It was actually one of the biggest fashion magazines in the country, rivaling the big, the likes of Vogue and Cosmo and so on. We had 500,000 in terms of distribution. It was sent out to premier customers who were subscribers of ASOS for next day delivery and so on. And that was kind of a really well-established vehicle that went on for 12 years. So ASOS has kind of gone from zero retail media to pretty established traditional retail media offering, and then kind of down, and now we're on the resurgence again. So I can get into the past year in a minute, but basically, we had a pretty well-established traditional sales team. We were out speaking to the bigger brands. It was a great way to showcase the ASOS brand, and also our target audience of the fashion-loving 20-somethings. That audience has always been the key. The magazine was a great way to put across our brand values and showcase the fantastic brands that we had on ASOS. So ASOS is a combination of big brands. We have 850 brands, and we also have our own brands. We've got 17 brands that we own. And in the old days, it was very much about ASOS going after Topshop. That's kind of the one to beat. And in terms of the retail media offering, apart from the magazine, obviously we started into social media when that started rising up. And then, the print industry definitely started taking a little bit of a decline, as we all know. And that's really where we had to emphasize the focus on social media. So 2007 onwards, you started to see a bigger focus on social media. In terms of a kind of offering for brands really wanted to launch products on ASOS. So the new trainer, the new dress, the new jacket, very much about Nike's Air Force Ones or Adidas, Levi's, Ray-Ban, etc. And it gave great opportunity, display ads, advertorial, inserts in the magazine, inserts in the packaging and so on, which we still do today, not in the magazine, but in the packages. And then, of course, when things started to cool very rapidly in the publication industry and print, it wasn't really a viable business anymore, and we had to say, okay, well, we're moving into the digital age. At that point, I think a lot of retailers and also publishers were kind of grappling with how do we make digital media work? How do we make it pay for itself? Because the money was very much in TV and print and so on, and digital was kind of on the rise, but not necessarily, didn't really have the momentum it does today. And of course, that's really where we started kind of changing things up. And also we started to see a demand from brands where they would say, well, we love this 20-something audience, and also we love the edge that ASOS provides in terms of how you position our brand, how you shoot our brand, because we had, and still do, we shoot our brands in a certain way with our own models, our own talent, and brands love coming to ASOS because they'll see the brand positioned in a way that you might not see a Nike trainer or an Adidas trainer or a New Balance trainer on their own websites. It's shot in a different way. It's positioned slightly differently. We also combine that with some of the ASOS brands as well in certain looks. So it's about assembling a look. And they like coming to ASOS to have that kind of put together and showcase. But then, of course, the challenge for retail media and the job for retail media is how do we kind of get that in front of the right audience? And I suppose where we're getting to today is fantastic, and have done for the past probably 5 to 10 years, is as the targeting and measurement capability in digital advertising has improved, it's very much, okay, this is good. We don't have to just throw the kitchen sink at a campaign, whereas in kind of early days, maybe 10 years ago at ASOS, the magazine on the decline, digital media coming up, the advent of ASOS Insiders, which were our own social kind of talent. We had 8 ASOS Insiders who we brought in to represent the 8 different personas of the ASOS audience. And then we kind of said, okay, we can put a campaign together, but at that point there wasn't the targeting or the measurement of the campaign that we enjoy today. So it was very much okay, we've got this great shoot, we've got this great imagery, let's just put it in front of everyone. So it wasn't a very targeted approach. There was a lot of awareness. You could get sales on the back of that, but it wasn't very focused, it wasn't very targeted. It was just about reach, scale, and kind of audience. So at that point it was, let's just do a bit of everything. We'll put we'll put a page in the magazine, we'll put it into social media.
And on digital.
It'll be on digital in terms of homepage takeover. On a few pages more hard-coded rather than ad-served and targeted. And that's kind of, it was fine, but we also couldn't measure it. So we'd come to the end of a campaign and brands would go, okay, that looked great, looked fantastic. No one really knew how it did though. And that's really the kind of biggest change now. So if we move into where we're getting to today, it's like, okay, magazine we closed in 2019. We then decided to, which was a pretty late decision, in fact, for display ads, start display ads up on ASOS in 2019, which, in the grand scheme of other retail media owners is kind of pretty late, to be honest. And then we started to kind of go from there.
Was that decision because of the magazine do you think? And also, what now, because of the new capabilities, are advertisers becoming more demanding, and what are they demanding?
Yeah, I think the magazine was kind of a way to showcase ASOS's tone of voice. We had lots of up-and-coming stars on there, Jennifer Lawrence and Taylor Swift when they were kind of rising stars. It was not really a revenue generator as such for the business. It was just, this is the way to showcase our soul, showcase our brands. So I don't think ASOS was very focused on the revenue, and therefore when that kind of dissipated a bit, and we went into social media, we weren't too bothered about making money out of retail media. And that's why we probably didn't get into display ads as early as some of the grocers and some of the other retail media companies. However, the demands from brands is changing now. It's like, okay, if we are going to satisfy our financial directors, we're going to have to justify this investment because loads of other companies can do it. Everyone's offering targeting, really good specific attribution and measurement and so on, and justifying the investment, which is really what brands want to see now. So in terms of the next stages and what we're doing over the past year or so is a more sophisticated integration of, a new integration of sponsored ads, an enhanced display ads offering. We had to go through the kind of process of considering, do you build or do you buy? We ended up deciding to partner with Criteo. They're a great kind of global retail media business. They've got some really good ad products. And we decided that was probably a more efficient route at the moment. And we're very happy to be going forward in that way. And so what that'll enable us, sometime in the summer, we'll be launching display and sponsored ads with them, but that can then combine with the social media. We've got inserts that still go out in the bags. We've got direct marketing and email and push notifications. And the challenge really is, how do we bring that portfolio together? And I mean, a lot of the discussion this morning was about audiences, databases, and so on. It's not just as simple as, there you go, there's a few ad products and voila, it's brilliant. You have to kind of work very hard and make a lot of investment in tying the audience to the different ad products, have the right resource and capability in-house to be able to do that, and also put together the reporting and so on for campaigns.
Not asking much at all, really.
Not asking much at all, no.
And so that's kind of the direction of travel, is kind of integrating more tech and kind of rolling out more and more formats. Where would you like to see the kind of retail media as a whole landscape get to in the next few years? What do you think might happen?
Yeah, and we've spoken a little bit about the full funnel aspect. Historically, it's been very focused on low funnel conversion, return on ad spend, which has been probably one of the highlights of social media, but also a bit of a curse when it comes to upper funnel marketing, because everything is kind of tied back to ROAS, and it's like, well, if we didn't get a high ROAS, did this campaign actually work? So I think Amazon have done a pretty good job in terms of full funnel offering. I think we'll probably see that across a number of other retailers. There's advancements in CTV and video and large format advertising that we can link off-site to on-site retail media. And we'll start, and I think we need to, and what would be great is if you can start seeing how your investment is working on and off-site and through that funnel, which a number of retailers can do, but it's very much a catch-up game for a lot of other companies.
And is there anything that like ASOS would have done differently, do you think, like looking back on it, that maybe some things that might be changed if they could? I mean, obviously that's 2020 hindsight, but
yeah, of course. I think getting going earlier is probably something that you'd always want to do, if you have the hindsight. And when you see something, like traditional print coming to an end, I suppose if it was on the radar at that point, ASOS could have done, got into display ads a bit earlier and kind of pushed a bit harder on the, tying the audience back to the targeting and the measurement. But hindsight's a lovely thing.
Yeah, and I suppose this is my last question, as we've only got about a minute or so left, but I know that you've worked at quite a few different companies, including Amazon, as you mentioned before. Are there any lessons that you brought from those companies to ASOS, and what were they?
Yeah, I mean, it's really good to work across different retailers, which I've worked in a couple of retailers. Lots of familiar faces around the room here today, seeing old friends and colleagues. You definitely, remember some of the learnings in the different ad products and the targeting and the measurement challenges, which is a great thing to kind of have been through before. So in terms of learnings, I would say, moving fast is important, and just keeping that real kind of speed on getting the brands what they need, because it's retail media at its core is about helping brands grow on that retailer, and we have to keep focused on how are we going to help those brands grow and develop with the retailer themselves, because it's a support business within a core retail business,
and grow not just in a sort of sales growth, but in a brand kind of way as well.
Exactly, and also that. That relates to the upper funnel question earlier. It's, some brands you can actually launch on retail media platforms, and that's becoming something you can do now that you might not have been able to do before. Okay.
Well, thank you so much, Elton. That's all we have time for. We've got another session coming up, but just if everyone could give Elton a round of applause.